So the planes are going over just now overhead. It's 6:20. It's pretty punctual. Dark as can be. Won't be light for hours. But they're monitoring the border. I mean, we've got all these people from Canada just running across the border. We gotta have planes going all the time to watch from way up high. Like, I don't know. I think they're watching the area, but I don't think they're watching the border the same way that these, neighbors believe. But whatever. But so I wanted to start with, so this morning a Monkey Works thing popped up. And if you don't know who he is, he's some like air traffic controller. I think he's military. So he started watching the traffic and showing people what planes and who's on those planes and what planes are going here and there. So if you've never watched his show, you might be interested if you try and keep up on what's going on. But anyways, I just try and go in and kind of see like updates, like what's the temperature now? What's happening a little bit? Where's the shift occurring? And so I'll just give you the little updates I got. One thing, Inslee is trying to go full on with putting us into the camp. So that we got go from floods to fires to deadly bugs. I mean, it's just one thing after another here. It's insane. But, we were the first to be locked down. So, and Inslee's married to Getter Boy's sister, from what I understand. Who knows? I mean, so much of the stuff that they put out there, like they tell us that Michael's a girl. They made her first lady. So we live in an illusion. It's what they tell us, so we believe. That's the whole thing. It's what they tell you that you believe, You believe it or you don't believe it. So, yeah, he's going full on, so. And I put those signs up and stuff. I don't know how much good they will do. But the one good thing is that he was saying, you can go watch it, interpret the way you want to, but there's a lot of military action that's going, a lot of military planes, just like those ones that are going in there, if you go in and watch his map thing, it's, and it keeps being each day, like they're monitoring certain areas because we are in a war, So, but the good news, this is what the whole thing is when you got like military action like this, then that T-Dog's gone against Joe Blow. So, and they had to get some of those generals out of there because they were black hats. And so I think that, whatever generals that they have in now, I think are definitely talking to the commander-in-chief about what's happening. And I think that we are seeing that there is, it is coming to a head. Things are coming to a head. So, but remember, they're going to get worse to come to a head. Like it's going to be just the same, like for those people in Hawaii, when they got told they had 10 minutes to live, and they didn't know they were going to survive until they had gone through 8 minutes of that torture. So it's going to be that same thing where it's going to seem like, this is it, people. This is it. We're all dead. Because just remember, it's all for this awakening. It's all to get these people to become present in their living experience, because they're not present in it at all. They're living for other beings. They're living for other agendas. They aren't living for themselves at this point. So this is that opportunity for everybody to wake up, and it's going to be huge. But we have to have this big, scary thing that's going to happen. So, and I had heard a tarot card this morning say something interesting. So, keep this in mind too, because she was talking about something else, but she said, like when you go to, you're out of a swimming pool and you come above the water and there's just noise and chaos and just, it's crazy. And then you go under the water and suddenly you're in another world. That's what we have to remember during this is, yeah, you can come up and look, periscope around, see what's happening. But remember, just go back underwater to find your peaceful place. because it's you who has to get yourself through this. So you have to know what your needs are and how to accommodate yourself through this stuff. You know, you have to recognize like, oh man, I'm way too triggered. Even by listening to stuff I say, it could be too much, and you need to go and, just detach from it all, go underwater and just, go into having a tea party underwater or whatever it is you need to do. No, she's drinking. She's in a mood today. We've been up since 2:30, so. But I went to bed at 8:30. I just keep going to bed earlier and early. Like by 6 o'clock. I swear to God, like at 5:30 in the evening, I start looking up at the clock like, is it bedtime yet? I'm so tired. But anyways, she's in a mood. So there was a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about, so we'll see how I can get through this. I'm obviously starting far beyond before the sunrise. We've got a long ways to go till that, if we even get one. I don't think we're going to get one today. Yesterday, it was pretty far over there. It's not like it goes above us. It's pretty far. But like this light comes through a little for a couple hours when they give it to us. So, that's the thing. A real sun, can hit a lot more area. It's way above us. So, yeah, this thing that they're kind of moving around, it's kind of like angled at us or something. I don't know. It's weird is when, like everything is an illusion and everything is coming from within, but how are they changing it for my illusion? Like once that's already locked in and you see things a certain way, how is it changing? It's just because all of a sudden I'm realizing it, and then it's just transforming, like all of the illusion is falling free from it. I don't know. I just know I see things different in the sky than other people. It's trippy. But, in that one study where it was, in that book that my friend in Australia was talking about, there's a whole bunch of different studies. And one of them, it was a woman who had faced a lot of trauma, I think, maybe rapes and stuff. I don't remember. It was a lot of trauma or something. And they showed all these people these pictures, and they said, what's in the picture? And this woman couldn't see. There was a naked woman in the window. Her mind just wouldn't accept it. She couldn't see it. And until they went and said it and pointed it out and showed her. And she's like, I didn't even see that. But that's how we go through life. That is how, like, we walk into a room and we see what we want to see. We experience what we want to experience. And everything is coming from within. So the more that we can go through life and accepting that, the more that we can be on our own path. Because, I'll just give you kind of a, for instance, I'll kind of pull this in as a bit to show this story. So, yesterday when I was talking about, because I was a relationship junkie. Oh, that's going to fix me. I'll feel better if I get the right man, then everything will be okay. So, if I had somebody who truly loved me, I think that is a real thing. But the thing is when you aren't healed in yourself and you need somebody to give you that, then you're giving too much power away. You're giving everything away. So it's much different when you pull in your power to yourself, and that's why, I'm not going to just go out with anybody. Like I know who I'm supposed to. The universe has spent years now. And when they want you to, when they're showing you something and guiding you, they can overwhelm you with stuff. They will just hit you nonstop with certain things, certain people, certain words, certain, they come at you to direct you. Oh, and I'll just throw this in real quick too. And then I'll get back to the other story because it's longer. So my friend also in Australia, she's always talking to me. She's like, I just don't get it. Your guys just talk and talk and talk. Like you've got too much chatter. You've always got people talking in your head. And she said, but I don't get it. And I'll ask them things. And I'm like, I'm telling you, this is new to me. I thought we all lived the same way I'm living. I had no idea. That's what confused me so much about people. Like, how do they go and do this stuff? Like, it's just threw me. Because, I have talking in my head that tell me stuff and I'm listening. And So I was telling her, it's a communication. And we all have it, but it is kind of similar, like, we want dogs to understand English. We want dogs to understand every language, as a matter of fact. We want them to conform to our ways of communicating. And they have their own ways of communicating. You watch and you will see. They definitely are communicating. This is kind of giving me a headache. So anyways, and it's the same. Like, we want people to conform to us. So it is a new approach when you are trying to understand. So you're translating information that's coming to you from somewhere else. And it's up to you to translate. They're talking to you in a different way. They're talking to you in feelings and numbers and codes and communication. It's weird, but you start to understand it when you tune in. Just like an army person can be a code detector or whatever. They can break codes. You can break the code because it's your own code with your own self, but you have to tune into it to figure it out. And so anyway, she was all excited because she had a big epiphany. She said that she all of a sudden she realized how they were communicating with her, that they were showing her things and then giving her a feeling. And she was all excited. And I was like, yes, they're communicating with us all the time. It's just not everybody's tuned in to the communication. So the more that you can tune yourself into the communication, the more you'll feel connected, the more you'll feel like you're not alone. So anyways, back to this other story. So I was a relationship junkie, and the world had to, or the universe had to put me on track for sure, because I was just so caught up. I was such a workaholic. Oh my God, I swear to God, it was like, how many hours can I work? I can work more hours than you. It was like I was mental. I was like, work, 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 work. And I know my dad was a workaholic, but he was also an alcoholic. I was more of a shopaholic. I really like clothes. I work and spend money on clothes. So I was, I was not where I was supposed to be. I was not living my purest life. I was living with people who I didn't align with. I gotta lower this. I feel like I'm having to sit way up. Yesterday I made it higher so I could sit on the couch. And when I go in this chair, it's much lower. This chair is lower. So, anyways, so I was just living like a dysfunctional life. It wasn't like I wasn't a drug addict and I wasn't an alcoholic, but you don't have to do those things to be self-defeating. It comes in all packages. It's all about balance. It's all about getting control of your life, So I was in these relationships that were never good for me. And it's so crazy is because I thought that these were going to be so much more. When you go through life and you think people are like you, it can blow up in your face. When you think that people have got the same kind of programming about wanting to be better and do better and feel better and focus on their spirit and their soul and their journey and their path and stuff like that. Not everybody's here for that. So, and some people are here just to learn about it, I think. But yeah, it's not everybody's, first focus, and it is mine. So, anyways, the universe had to knock me off of the wagon and into the pool. And so I, and it was a hard fall, when I got pushed into it. And the relationship I was in, I would say was probably one of the worst ones. And the last one I was in, it was after I already got my brain injury. I had already, had gone through a couple of relationships that just were failures. I just was like, this is not what I want in life. And then just go right back into another one. My only excuse is, I already had a brain injury at that point. I wasn't thinking properly. And I definitely had a huge amount of fear. Like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Am I going to be, am I not going to be able to take care of myself? They're telling you can't drive. They're telling you can't do this, you can't do that. And in the first few years, you're really in such a state. And the thing is too, is that people look at you and they think, well, you look normal, you look the same, so you're the same. Quit pretending. Quit acting like you're different. And they don't understand that you are different. You aren't the same person. And it pushes a lot of people away. Like you lose, I lost everything. But anyways, you don't get like a lot of sympathy, let's say. You're more of an irritation. So you're trying to adapt at the same time. Everyone around you just doesn't want to be around you. You're just irritating. You're fake. You're phony. You're ridiculous. You're dramatic. Everything. So it's a lot to go through. Any kind of injury. I can only talk about the one I went through, but any injury that somebody would go through that's going to change their life, that is, it's a lot. It's a lot to overcome. So when I was in that relationship, though, it was super, super toxic. He was very, very young, and I was kind of in that, late 40s divorcee. Oh, younger guy, everybody's doing it. Never again. I wouldn't even date. No. No. That is not something I'm into. Yeah, this is it. No, I want somebody who's an equal. I want someone I can have a conversation with. Yeah. So anyways, so there was a lot of me giving myself, things that were important to me. It was like, well, I guess it's not that important. Just blow it off. So I'm giving. And I was the one who, luckily having the job I did when I got my brain injury. So I was still making good money, even because I was a workaholic, and I was making good money still because it's based on how much you were making. On a disability, I was still making more than most people were making working 40 hours. So I, and I don't know, when there's a lot of people around you that don't have money, you kind of get like a guilt about it a little bit. And it's not like I do things out of, you do some things out of guilt, but it's not like it's just guilt. Like that's a word that they come up with, but it is more like, you just want to even it out. You want everybody to have something. You don't want to just be the one like, hey, I got it all. Ha ha ha. You know what I mean? So there is a sense of sharing. And then when somebody wants something, I take their needs as valid, or their wants or whatever. But also when you get in these toxic relationships, there's more associated with it. You've got, oh, well, if I give you this, then that means you'll be nice. If I give you this, that means you'll quit drinking. Stuff like that, But it doesn't go that way. So it's kind of like you just keep hitting the wall. Like, oh, this isn't working. But, that's our toxic way of trying to encounter relationships, And then when, it was just like, I was just frustrated. I just wanted out. I just didn't know what to do. And I definitely felt that same kind of trapped. Like, I don't even know what to do. And my whole thing is I got to just make this better. I got to just make it better. And trying to figure out like how. And so when finding out that he was suicidal all the time, then yeah, that's great. More power to you to, if you need to go. The whole thing is so in that scenario, right? Because there's no good or bad players, right? It's all by perspective. So when he was leaving, I said that, my life is going to improve and you're going to have to face yourself. So, good luck to you, because when you don't have somebody to blame, you're going to have to look at yourself and start beginning to understand who's really the one who's failing you. So, I kind of left it out that. Well, there were some other things I said, and I knew it wasn't, luckily I have this other, consciousness that I'm tapped into, and sometimes they can really, AK-40 somebody. They're good with their words, and they tell you just the right things to say because they know is going to affect that person. You know what needs to be said. And when you're tuned in and you're just honest and you just put yourself in a vulnerable state to say what's true, not to try and say things that are hurtful or mean. That was true. It was very true. When you don't have somebody to blame, who are you going to blame? You need to have time by yourself. You need to see who's in charge. You need to see who to blame in your life, and it's you. So, and coincidentally, then that is what happened to me, because then I went into the dark night. But, you know, when you look at this stuff, it doesn't matter for me what his perspective. Like, you could go in and you could be like, well, you know, let's talk about this. You each say your perspective. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for me or my growth what his perspective is over that experience. What matters is what mine is, because they're directing me towards my healing, towards my growth. So they're showing me what I need to see so that I can make movement towards my growth. So I don't need to get caught up in his web. I don't need to get caught up in his lessons and stuff, because your perspective of each situation is going to be so vast and unique, because it is in what we're noticing, and what we notice is what we need to heal. So, you know, hopefully that makes sense in what I'm saying about that, because it is so much about, I think, especially in these toxic ways that we've been taught to try and heal and stuff, you know, is, oh, I feel this way, so you need to change, you need to conform, so I stop feeling this way. And it's not about that person's healing, it's about how you need to change so that they quit feeling that way. And it's the opposite of what we need to do. We need to center, bring it back into ourselves, you know. Then after that, then I had to go into, you know, my healing menagerie, and it was just one thing after another. But yeah, in the first part, I did have to see myself very clearly, and I didn't know that that was going to happen. I didn't even know about a dark night. I'd never even heard of such a thing, I don't think. There's a lot of things that I never heard of that have started coming into my orbit during, you know, by the time 2020 occurred, for sure. But there was a lot of spiritual stuff that was already coming that I had no idea about, you know, just like the chakras and stuff like that. You know, I was way more into like, well, it's reincarnation, we get born over and over, you're here to experience, and you know, each life has its own experience and it's for a reason. And so there's a lot of other stuff I didn't know, like crystals and chakras, and, you know, a lot of the spiritual stuff that is new to me too. Healing, that's when I started learning about Reiki. It was after the dark night. I had to get through the dark night, and that was rough. But then, you know, the healing menagerie starts. You start having just like all of these different things to help you develop yourself into a new state of being. But I just feel it is really important for us to stay centered on our own perspective in the sense of healing. Not to say that other people's perspectives are invalid, like we just ignore other people's perspective, but do you give it the same power as your perspective? Because it's your perspective is the one that is guiding you towards your healing, and other people's perspective is guiding them, whether they want to blame it on others, or, you know, if they want to take those deep hard looks at themselves, that's, you know, that's up to them. And they're going to be shown over and over why it's important. Because once you get to a certain point, you will look back and you'll see like, oh my gosh, this happened. That was, you know, if I would have done that, I would have learned it then. I could have learned that then. I could have learned that then. You'll start seeing how there was so many open doors along the way. But when you don't have your focus is on, oh, what's going on with them? Oh, are they like me? Oh, they hate me. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You know? Stella, you don't need to go back outside right now. You don't need to be so dramatic either. Just come over here and sit down. She's already been out once. She's already had her medicine, treat. Oh my gosh. Sometimes it just seems like everything, like do this, and then she'll stop for 2 seconds, then starts back, then do this, so it stops for 2 seconds. Today, a little puppy's going to come and play with her, so I hope she has fun with that. And it shouldn't be too rowdy because it's just a little puppy. And, you know, she can crunch it. I think usually when we're at the dog park and she loves little tiny things. Usually she just sniffs them and walks around, just keeps sniffing them like, oh my gosh, it's so little. Unless it's Mickey, my other dog that lives with my mom. Then, you know, those two were in a battle of wills. And Mickey's a character. But anyways, he's at my mom's now because she has all little tiny dogs. So she has a little dog pack. But anyway, so I think that we need to, I might have to help her get up. Hold on. I keep trying to help lift her hips up. Hold on. Oh, she did it. Okay. Because, you know, it is valid, like just say in the sense of, okay, so Anne Frank, you know, her perspective through that experience. So when you can go in and you can see through someone else's eyes and you can feel their experience and you can understand it, then that can help give you more perspective. It can help gain your perspective. So something would happen and you would have that in you to bring you back to like, oh, this is wrong or right, or how I align with this, or what I think about this and how I feel about it, you know, because you've already gone into, you know, deeper into that experience of understanding. Like, I think anybody who reads that gets the horror of, you know, what it is like to have to be so quiet and not move, and how scary when you can't see, and you know, there's things going on out there and you don't know what's happening and stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of valid knowledge that we can gain from other people's perspective. But when you go into a scenario where it's you and another person, and this happens all the time. That's what I'm talking. This stuff happens all the time. And I know it's not just happening for me. It's got to happen for other people. And I just feel like we get so caught up in coming at these things from the wrong direction. And, you know, when you think about, like, okay, his perspective, he was suicidal. I was so horrible to live with. He was suicidal. And he just needed to get away from me. Which, to me, you know, I hear he had a lot of pain and stuff that he couldn't get over. I mean, he had a mom who let his stepfather beat him since the time he was little. So, you know, he had a lot of pain that he had not dealt with. So whatever I was doing that was triggering that pain, you know, he didn't know where it was coming from, but there was something inside of him that was, you know, dying to get out. And you were holding it in. You know, you become suicidal for sure. You're not dealing with your stuff. And, you know, in that case, he just, his way of dealing with everything was a whiskey bottle. And, you know, interestingly enough, he was like the same kind of drunk as my dad. In my whole childhood, you know, my dad, I was the oldest daughter. My dad had so many issues. But, when he was drunk, which was every day, but in the evening is when he would get in those, the same as the other guy, get into those like, oh, poor me, whine, life is so hard. You know, it's like, if that's how you feel, is it really going to help you to drown yourself in a whiskey bottle? You know, or are you going to come at it in a different way? And I would try and give those pep talks, you know, because I approach life in a very different way. I have a very different perspective that I know that sitting and drowning your sorrows in a whiskey bottle is not going to get you anywhere, but sitting around with a bunch of other people drowning their sorrows in a whiskey bottle until you all get cirrhosis and die. And that is what happened. You know, my dad played it out. And I mean, crazy enough too, because my dad had cirrhosis from, oh man, he had cirrhosis, I bet you, 40 years of his life. I think that they said like he had 10% of his liver, and then it was like 1%. And then at the end, it was liver cancer. His liver was so shot that it was like, okay, cirrhosis hasn't done it, so now we're just going to eat it up with cancer. And so his liver, you know, I mean, he abused the fuck out of himself his whole freaking life. He was living completely for his ego, for himself, and all about him. And You know, he was definitely a partier, womanizer, you know, and chimo. You know, he was just all about him. Oh, that commercial just popped up that I just was talking about yesterday. Heaven is real. Heaven is for real. And it's on Flix. That's the one where the little kid dies and comes back and is talking about, you know, the guy's dad, his current dad's dad who's dead on the commercial. But anyways, it looks like it'd be good. Flix is when you have to pay to have. It has a free trial. But anyways, if you're looking for stuff to watch, Heaven is for Real looks good. And there's a couple more on Flix. It seems like they have some more like spiritual. The only thing is some of the ones where it's like, you know, more spiritually motivated, a lot of times they just try and focus so much on Jesus, and, you know, they give a certain direction. Everything they just say, give it a certain direction. And, you know, it's no surprise that people would die and think they go to heaven instead of just thinking they go to home. Just going home. It's not heaven. It's not like you. It's just where we live. And we're not here in other bodies, living in incarnations. And so, anyways, what was I talking about? I was saying about, but you don't fix your problems by just doing the same thing over and over, you know. It's just a dead end, and it's not going to fix anything. And most people, I find, that they go and they drink again the next day because they don't want to face who they were the day before. Well, each day, if you do that, you got another bad person, another bad incident, another bad issue, another whatever that you don't want to face each day. Because, you know, it's true. Like when you are, you know, poisoned with alcohol, and your soul is, who knows, it's just sitting over in the corner of your body puking and, you know, it's all disoriented. Then, you know, you got these other beings that come in and take over and get you into trouble. I mean, that probably happens for some people because the body is a lot easier to get into if somebody's in that state. I'd seen that in a movie with Denzel Washington. I don't remember what movie it was. I think I've talked about it before, but I've seen that a bunch of times since. But the thing about, you know, that's how that darker energy finds its way in when people are drunk, because they're just, you know, their soul doesn't have the same kind of control over them. They're not as, it's kind of like they've got just this, they left the car doors open, even if they're laying in the back trying to get their shit together. The doors are open. So, yeah, you're going to do more stuff to try and have to face. So it is much better to just go in and face it. Just go in and face who you are and accept the fact you've done some stupid shit. We've all done stupid shit. That is part of being alive. The other day, one of my daughters was telling me something, you know, and it's kind of like she's beating herself down over doing some stupid shit or whatever. And it's like, why do people do this? Why do we beat ourselves down when we're, I mean, you learned from it, right? You did some stupid shit. You saw, hey, that wasn't a good idea. And then you learned. So therefore you had a great lesson, right? Why do we get all caught up and think like, oh my God, I'm so stupid? Really? I think you must be pretty smart because you could recognize that you had a lesson. You went in, you learned it, and now you are all for the better for it. So why do we get so stuck in like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. Oh my God, I'm the worst person. Like, we're so happy to just beat ourselves down and talk shit to ourselves when you do the opposite and you tell yourself how much you love yourself and how great you are and how much you appreciate yourself. And yeah, you did something stupid, but it's okay. I got your back. You know, you're here to learn. Good for you. Good job. You know, take those lessons on. And that is all comes from inside, you know. That is part of this transference, is for us to, you know, to hit into these walls. We got to hit into the walls so that we can stand up and go, okay, how do I get around this wall? you know, and a lot of people, they just hit the wall, they get up, and they just slam back into the wall over and over and over and over. And they just think, well, I'll just beat my way through this wall. When there's doors, there's windows, you climb over it. There's all sorts of ways around a wall. But you have to, you know, stop and look at yourself and figure it out. And the more that you tune in to the Christ consciousness that's around you, I mean, they'll give me stuff like right before I need it. And when something all of a sudden pops up, I know they're giving it to me right before I need it. So I'll be like, oh, okay, I see it. I gotcha. And then, you know, 10 minutes later, I'll be like, oh, you need that thing we just showed you. And I'll have to go, oh, okay, thank you. Even on the smallest things, you know, every little thing that they do, start recognizing when they're doing it and communicating, when they're giving you stuff, when they're telling you stuff, because it's happening all around you. It's just you're not paying attention. Just like there's ghosts and spirits and there's other realities all around you, but you're just not paying attention. You're focused on this, you're focused on pleasing somebody, being, you're focused on being the right way, you know, instead of focusing on being your way and focusing on what's presently happening in your life. And it's so much just about, it is kind of like you go into a room and so we've all gone into this giant hall, this giant, you know, big stage, and there's speakers and there's stuff, you know, this whole big room. And they keep telling us what to look at. And so that's all we see, just like the woman who couldn't see the naked woman in the window, that we just keep seeing what they are telling us is there. But when you stop listening to them, all of a sudden you see, like, the room is nothing like what they told you. The room is completely different. And, but when you've got your consciousness so focused on what they're telling you, it's like you're trying to see, you're trying so hard to see what they are showing you. You're trying so hard to see what they're telling you that's there. You're trying so hard to please them because you're all caught up. It all goes together with the chakras and your energy and stuff. And, you know, it has so much to do with the being in that unconscious state, that autopilot state, that unhealed state, and being so triggered. And they know how to trigger you. They know how to capture your, what is that called? To capture your focus, yeah, to capture your attention. They know how to hold it, to keep it in you know, I mean, fear and trauma and chaos. You know, they've got all these people like hanging on every freaking word, and they're lying to them and misguiding them, and they're hanging on every word. And it's so crazy because the people who are hearing one thing think that everybody's hearing the same thing, and these people are just choosing not to hear it. But that's not true. These other people aren't even hearing it. They have no idea. I mean, you know, my daughter, you know, is like she plays sports all through school, and you know, I was really a sporty kind of, I mean, she's still into the gym and jogging and all that stuff. And she has no idea that these people are dropping dead. She has no idea. I said something to her the other day. I said, what do you think about all these sports guys just dropping dead like that? And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So, see, we are being shown certain things, and they're not seeing it. So it's not like, oh, they're seeing this, because I've heard so many people like, I just don't understand. How can they see this and they just don't get it? They don't see it. They don't see it. They see different stuff. They see stuff like about the T-Dog supporters are out trying to destroy the world. I think they think probably we were the ones who were, you know, taking down, you know, destroying cities and taking down statues and stuff. I think that they are so, they're just lost in this forest of lies. They're not seeing the same stuff we're seeing. You know, that's a big thing. Not at all. And I think that's really, really where we get this whole thing. Like, if it's not on Facebook, it's not true. And Facebook is censoring everything, but they don't know that. They don't get that. They haven't gone that far out in their thought pattern to break free from that. All they know is Facebook is where I go. Facebook is where I get attention. Facebook is where I talk to people. Facebook, you know, there's just na-na, like the Goombas off of Popeye. There's one focus. And it's all about making themselves feel better. And, you know, it's all so manufactured. It's also misleading and misgiving because it isn't true. I mean, the only way you're ever going to feel good about yourself is to fill yourself up, you know, and the only way you're going to fill yourself up is to first, you know, dump out the old gross stuff, you know, see if there's anything good in there left, you know, maybe there's some stuff like, oh, I kind of like that about myself. Yeah, I was kind of weird with that person, but yeah, it's still pretty good, you know, put it back in the cup. You know, there's something that's just like, oh, I really did not like that part of me. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I was kind of angry. Why did I get so angry in that situation? What in me? What did that person bring out in me? You know, why did I feel that way? Why did I feel desperate? Why did I feel angry? Why did I feel sad? You know, go into those feelings. See if it's something you want to keep in the cup. If it's not, dump it. And if it's something good and you want to, you know, dust it off or you want to shine it up, then put it in your cup. And then start, you know, filling your cup with whatever you want to fill. Fill it with fruit. Fill it with teas. Fill it with water. Fill it with spices. Whatever it is that you see yourself as, fill your cup up with you. And then you are complete. Then you don't need to go on Facebook and have people say, hey, you look so pretty today. Oh my gosh, that looked like the funnest vacation I've ever seen. Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. You've got the best kids and husband. You know, you don't need that. You don't need to go out and try and, you know, make yourself feel better in this pretend way. You just go in and start really examining yourself and figuring out who you are and who you want to be. Because one thing too, I think right now, especially, a lot of people are going for that empty kind of build up, and they're not getting the same thing from it. You know, it's leaving them feeling empty. It's leaving them feeling like kind of grossed out, and they don't even know why. But they're just kind of like, yeah, this is kind of yuck. Oh, I didn't even like what that person said. You know, they're getting a new vision of an old system. And that is just going to continue to happen because all of it has to go. There's nothing in this world that I think anybody would really want to bring forward. I think most things people are just, you know, it's been used. Everything has been used in such a toxic manner against us. And I think everything is just as dirty. It's like they've got, you know, they went through all of the silverware and it's all got remnants of gross ass shit on it. And it's like, throw it away. We can make some new silverware. We'll just make something new out of this. And, you know, it's going to be exciting. And I think, you know, it sounds like it would be overwhelming. Like, oh my God, you mean we got to rebuild the whole world? How are we going to do that? Oh my God, this is Armageddon. This is the end. This is the worst. This is horrible. But, you know, the thing is when you understand that this is just a reality, and it's a reality that's been so constrained, and there's so much high technology that is going to come pouring in for us, it is going to, you know, once we take that leap, it's going to be a quantum leap. It is going to be quantum leap. It is going to be huge. So it can sound like, oh my God, everything has to end. Everything. Yeah. All this corporate, industrial complex of evil, moratorium of cabal, and all this stuff is just, it has to go. We can't, there's no fixing it. It's like that clay is all dried up. It's all decayed. There's no reforming it into something better. We've got to let it be exposed. We got to heal from the trauma, and we need to move forward. And but it will be done as a quantum leap, and we will go a giant step forward. And so, yeah, don't get caught up in like, oh my God, what are we going to do? I was like, when I was talking to my friend, and she's like, well, how are we going to get toilet paper? Which now they're in a shortage there. They're doing the same thing. People have gone and bought it all. And if you don't have some stocked up, but I mean, they told us that's the only way to clean your ass. Well, you know, people were cleaning their ass a long time before there was toilet paper. Just think about it. People were surviving. You can survive. And there's just all this stuff that they get you feeling like, oh my God, I don't have the comforts of the world. I need them. You know, no, we don't. We can survive. And you know, it's all by choice. I mean, when it got down to being creative with food, my daughter was like in a panic. No, we gotta get out of here. We gotta go find some food. And to me, it's like, no, I kind of like that part when you get into like, that's how people used to live. You know, what's in me? Can I survive? Could I have survived back then? Who knows if they could survive now? I mean, does it really even matter? But for me, when I'm filling up my cup, I want to know that I have more substance to myself, that I can, you know, I can survive. I mean, some certain things used to just really gross me out. Like if there was a hair in my food or something, I would be disgusted. I couldn't eat it. I would be like, my stomach would just shut down. Like, nope. No more of that's coming in your mouth, especially if you're pulling it out of your mouth. And now, like, I have a lot of hair. And Stella, she's always shooting her hair like a porcupine. So I've had to pull a lot of hairs out. And it just made me think about, like, you know, back in the day, when food was scarce, you think that they would be like, oh, a hair? Hell no. Throw that shit away. I don't think they gave a fuck if there was sticks and bugs in it. They were like, a food? Hell yeah, I'm gonna eat it. You know, and, you know, what makes me so uppity? Oh, a hair. When I know there's people around on the planet still to this day who would do, I mean, they don't give a shit. I'm good. Give me that hair too. Get a little extra protein in there. Like, so I think it's all of, you know, it's all about our perspective. And that is where, you know, I can have that and I can recognize, well, I'm not having a scarcity of food, but I know it is a true thing. So am I going to just be like, fuck it, throw it away? Or am I going to pull the hair out and just eat my food? And that's just having the awareness, you know, that is a thing. So it helps me to understand more about myself. It helps me to give myself more of, it's kind of like adding to the recipe, you know. Hopefully that makes sense, because I feel like I don't know. They do show you things like in pictures and metaphors and stuff like that. And that's why it's important for each person to develop their own communication, because they will communicate with you in a way you will understand more. And when I'm trying to translate the stuff that they say, sometimes I think it doesn't come out as well in translation, but I can understand exactly what they're saying, and it makes so much sense. And I think that we need to, you know, everything is just about connecting with them and healing. And it is about, you know, figuring out how to be happy in life, because it is a great gift. And yeah, you have, it's a journey and you have some experience and learning and stuff, but it's a great gift to get to experience life and to learn about yourself and to grow and to explore the world. So anyways, I'll go. I don't know, since it's so early still, I could very well be back still. I'm not going to be going anywhere. I'm still going to be sitting here, so I could be back talking about something else. We'll see. But if not, have a great day. And remember, if you do start getting stressed out, just go underwater and just focus on you. Focus on what it is that you need to grow. Think about, like, you know, why am I being triggered? Why am I being scared? Do I not trust? Do I, you know, am I worried that this is the end? And, you know, go in and explore what it is that gets you triggered, and get you feeling those feelings, you know, go into them deeper. But anyways, I think we're getting really close to getting through this to a new phase. It's not like we're going to go magically into just, peace on earth. But there's going to be, you know, there will be a switch. There will be where, you know, everybody's going to hit that wall. And once they hit the wall, some of us know how to get over the wall. But that is when things are going to take a turn. You know, we'll start going another direction. Right now we're just... well, I really think that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of stuff going on. Let's go watch that Monkey Works thing. But all of the plane stuff and all of this military action, and, you know, there's stuff with troops and there's stuff with the I mean, things are about to go to a head, I think. So hopefully, because I'm sick of just this dragging on and on and on. Like, come on, let's move forward. You know, well, those of us who are ready for the age of Aquarius, we're ready. We're ready to move out of this, you know, but it's gonna be a hard thing. So, you know, it is gonna take some of your own strength to get through it. And if you need to, you know, just hide out while it's happening, and, you know, no, then do that. Because it is about keeping your own peace of mind, keeping yourself balanced, know what you need throughout this whole thing. That is what is the most important. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.